Today, I'm going to teach you a technique called sequeling, which is awesome for being able to use in times of high uncertainty, where you're not sure of where you might need to go or end up next. And you as a leader are trying to ensure your team doesn't go too far down the line and then end up off the rails. So this technique is actually used in the military for mission planning, because if you can imagine, they don't know what's going to happen on every step of a mission. And they're trying to then think through what are the scenarios and how we respond if different things occurred, different situations came to reality when you were on the mission. You can use this with your own teams to better plan and consider how they would address surprises or changes or next steps in highly changing, highly uncertain environments versus stopping and saying, we're stuck, we don't know what to do next. Or worse yet, continuing down the same path when the result is not going to yield the value that you want. So how does sequeling work? Well, think about it like this. A lot of teams that I work with, they have an idea of something they want to do, and they take off running and they start at A and they want to go to Z. They're just going to move through that project or that effort or whatever it may be, even though they may be seeing different things at certain checkpoints or milestones or decision points in the process. They just keep moving forward because this was the plan that leadership approved. What sequeling does is it takes apart some of the steps and says, look, and by the way, if you played video games, you'll know some of this because this is coming from the idea of waypoints in video games. So you start at A, and A says, here's where I'm going to be. I want to start here. Now the question is, where do I go next? Well, I'm going to go to B. And when I start at B, coming out of B, what are the different options or opportunities that could happen as next steps? One easy way of doing that is, what do you think the best case scenario is? What's the worst case scenario? And what's the realistic scenario? That's one way of kind of couching this. But the main thing you're trying to do as a leader is you're just trying to say, you get to your first decision point, action point, whatever that may be. What could happen? And by asking that question, the team starts identifying, well, there's things that could happen that could take me over here to C. There's other things that could take me over here to D, or others to E. And when I get over here to D, I can say, well, I could end up at E, I could end up at F, I could end up at G. Now, all of these things that I put as letters, those are different paths or options. This could be, I need to stop the project. I need to go buy something. It could be, I need to do something less or adjust what it is I'm doing. And the whole purpose of this approach is to broaden the team's thinking to say, what could happen at that point? Not to go plan it in great detail, but to just say, what are the different outcomes that could happen at each one of these waypoints or steps? Versus here, where they're typically just going, I see situations changing, I see it, but I just keep barreling down the same path that I was on. So what sequeling does is broaden the team's thinking up front. You will get better quality planning. And then if they walk into that situation at B or at D, they are better prepared. They're not completely caught flat-footed. They can actually start to make some decisions and take actions because they've at least thought about it ahead of time. So that is the sequeling power play. It's really fast and easy for you as a leader. You just want to think to break them down into what are your key milestones or key decisions. And then from there, ask the team to say, what are the options that we could go into next? That's how you use it. Do that, and you will find greater stability and better performance in high changing, high uncertainty environments from your teams. Thanks.